There are two factual statements. Number one, everyone is affected by anger. And number two, no one really enjoys being angry. A very good evening to all of you. This evening, we will be starting the process of saying goodbye to anger, frustration, and irritation. And hopefully, by tomorrow evening, we will actually say that. Anger has an impact not only on the person who is being angry, but his vibrations of anger add on to the uh, ocean of vibrations of anger present in the world. And we know that the ultimate expression of anger is war. It is quite concerning to know that at present, about a third of the world's population is either directly involved with anger or they are facing one of the consequences of this war. Sorry, war. So, this consequence could be anything like losing a loved one, malnourishment, displacement, or any other such consequence. Now, we congratulate you all for being honest and open to bringing a positive change in the world by spreading the vibrations of peace, which are very much needed at the moment. Myself, Vandana, along with my husband Sunil, who is a banker by profession, we will be taking you on a journey to reveal about anger and its various facets. We are, in fact, connected to, we are students of Brahma Kumaris, and we are in regular touch with the Upton Park Center. And it was actually Surinder, Brother Surendra and Brother Umang's initiative that they suggested that we should take up this talk. We are also in the process of trying to overcome our anger, and we have not yet, I wouldn't say that we have achieved 100% success yet, but we are still in the process. We welcome you all.
Thank you, Vanna, for introducing the topic and introducing me as well. I'll just give a little bit more background by myself. I work for an Indian bank, namely ICICI Bank, as a manager there. And I come across a lot of situations, angry situations, because I'm in a part of retail banking. So I have a little bit more experience in terms of handling with the situations. So this is in continuation of our last week talk, which was on the topic of self-esteem. So there is a direct connection between self-esteem and overcoming anger. So the connection says that the both are on inside-out approach, wherein any trigger or any external stimulus, whenever it comes, we try and handle that thing through our inner qualities, which is within each one of us. And then our response is quite matured and I will say measured kind of a response if we adopt this kind of practice in our life. So as Vandana said that we are all amateurs, we are in the process of learning all by ourselves. So we are not master, we have not done mastery on the subject. We are not expert on this thing and we have not conquered anger. But yes, we are more aware about the angry situations, what triggers angers, what are the causes of angers, and we are better prepared ourselves before with our responses. So which means we have slightly more beware of the consequences of anger and accordingly suit our responses to that. So there are two in the last self-esteem, there was a one particular phrase which they have emphasized, which they said that we all are wonderful beings. We all are wonderful persons and we all are valuable persons. So now our theme for today is going to be that anger is an acquired habit, like the way we have acquired other habits, smoking, drinking, or whatever habits we have individually. So similarly, anger also we have acquired And then, therefore, we have a choice of getting rid of this habit. The way we have, the more effort we make, the more we are able to be successful in eradicating this habit from us. And what is going to help us eventually is our inner nature, which is that I'm a peaceful being. So repeatedly during the course of today and tomorrow, we will be using quite often that anger is our acquired habit and I am peaceful person. Therefore, I can, through my inner peace, I should be in a position to overcome anger. Okay, so this is going to be theme of this topic. So today's topic has been divided into 4 parts. I'm sure you can see now. So first is the erupting volcano, how the volcano erupts. And the second is looking beneath the surface. So what is under the volcano? So we will be discussing this first part, these 2 parts in today's session. And the remaining 2 in depth of volcano and the heart of the matter, we will be discussing it tomorrow. So this is an open discussion. It is not like we are expert. As I told you, we are not experts. So we will be sharing, taking your experiences also into account. So you feel free to share whenever you have any kind of input to add. You can stop us and then just share your views. Uh, uh, I'm going to start with 2 minutes small breathing exercise, which will give us a little bit, I will call it the relaxation exercise. So it will give us to stay tuned with our inner self, and then we'll be slightly more relaxed. Let's start with a breathing exercise. So it won't going to take much time. I'll just request each one of you to just sit comfortably uh, wherever you are. Don't worry about if you're sitting on the chair or whatever positions you are, just sit comfortably, feel yourself, your body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed. And when I say breathe in, so try and take the breath slowly and gradually so that our lungs get full oxygen. Uh, as much time you comfortably can do it. But when I say breathe in, you should also visualize that we are actually relaxing during this. So any statement, you can repeat it within your mind. That, for instance, I can say that I am peaceful and I'm getting relaxed. And when I breathe out, I should again visualize and say I'm feeling better. Okay. So I'll do it 2 or 3 times. So it's just a beginning so that we can all stay cool, calm, and composed before we start the session. Okay, sit down in a comfortable position. I'll count 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Slowly and gradually breathe out. And when I breathe out, I feel better. Again, breathe in. I'm relaxed and peaceful. Breathe out. I'm feeling much better than before. Again, breathe in. Slowly and gradually. If I can hold on to it, it's better. If I can't hold it, then I gradually breathe out. So I'm feeling relaxed, calm, composed, collected, feeling better than before. Okay. So now moving to the next slide, which is erupting volcano. So anger is like a volcano. Like volcano erupts, anger also erupts in the same manner. The only difference is that it bypasses our intellect faculty. Okay. So the one example which quickly comes to my mind is a week before there was an assassinated attempt on Trump. Okay, so the person who has uh, he himself got killed by the secret police. So the point is not that what went behind his mind or what kind of hatred he was having, or someone has used him to kill Donald Trump. This was not the case which we are going to be investigating. The only thing is that this was a volcano, this was a anger of a very extreme nature, wherein the thought came to his mind. It must be a very concentrated and very powerful thought, which he has been uh, uh, having in his mind for God knows how many days, or how much time he would have been spent in planning this and executing this task. So it came swiftly from his thought and bypassed his intellect, and straightaway came into action. And then fortunately he got survived, because the bullet went to his ear. But in the meantime, you would have noticed that the security forces have immediately taken no time to just retaliate and killed him on the spot. Okay, he lost his life. So what are the two things which happened in this process? The only thing which happened in this process is thought became action, and the intellect, which has a reasoning capacity, which has the capacity to stop him, which has the capacity to say to understand what is right and what is wrong, he did not use that thing. So similarly, the same thing happens with volcano also, which Varna will be explaining to you in a short time. So in this section, we will be discussing about what is our understanding about the causes of anger, and how what are the causes, and what is the anger process, and what damage it does to our physical, emotional, and mental faculties. And then what are the practical tools available for us to overcome this kind of situation.
An erupting volcano can be compared to anger and vice versa. In the case of a volcano, what happens is there are many internal processes taking place for a very long time. So these chemical reactions are taking place beneath the surface of the earth. In fact, they are taking place in the mantle below the crust. And because of the gases being generated, the pressure within the chamber gets uh, it keeps on increasing. And when it reaches a certain threshold, in the presence of a trigger, which could be something like an earthquake, because of this trigger, the the molten lava and other gases and ash, they surge up the volcano, and they from the crater, they erupt out and spread all over around the volcano, causing heat and destruction. And in the case of anger, what do we see is that there is a built-up of negative emotions, feelings, and negative thoughts, and these processes take place at the mental level, and the emotions keep on building up, building up, building up. And when they reach a certain threshold, in the presence of a trigger, the person flies into rage. So, in both the cases, the end result is heat and destruction. Though, in the first case, in the case of the volcano, it is more on the physical plane, while in the case of an angry person, it is more on a non physical dimension.
Thank you, Vanna, for sharing how volcano erupts. So now coming to the next slide, which is on reflective learning. So I'll just open it for each one of you to just. Okay, so reflective learning is again, as I mentioned initially, that it's an inside out approach. So we will be carefully studying the causes of anger. We will be observing, reflecting, learning, practicing, changing uh, through how we can bring change from choosing a response, whether we should react to a situation or we should be reflective and give a very measured response to a situation. So we'll be discussing everything about in this reflective learning today.
To cite this with an example, let me share that first of all, let me just throw some light on reflective learning. To reflect means to think deeply. And if we want to change something, we stop, we think about it, and then we change. Say, for instance, I need to change my behavior. I am very pessimistic. I look at the negatives in every situation. I look at the faults in people. I look at the defects in an object, and so on. But what is the end result? It makes me sad. It makes me depressed. It makes me pessimistic. But I want to change my behavior. I want to change my thinking. So what do I do? Next time, out of habit, I choose to go on the path of pessimism. But what I do is I consciously put a stop to my thought process and steer my thoughts towards optimism. I start looking at the brighter side of the situation. I start looking at positives in a person. I start looking at the good things in that object, and so forth. So it is with effort that I change my thought process. Initially, it will be with effort, but if I do it consistently and if I do it repeatedly, then it will become a habit for me. So this is also called check and change. I check and I give it a thought and I change the course.
Check and change. So how can we change ourselves? Okay, so we have a power of choice. Do we actually have a power of choice with us? Yes, we have. So here are the situations we can, there is a positive person and there is a negative person. So the positive person, if we see his attitude is going to be proactive, he will be having a solution bent of mind. He will always try to find a solution in the problem. He will not be focusing on the problem more. He will try to empower himself whenever an opportunity comes through his inner values. He will be more loving and optimistic. And if he does everything, then the end result is going to be GLAD, GLAD. What does it mean? It means that he will be giving, loving, accepting, and detached person. So whenever we find anybody who is giving, loving, accepting, and detached, we can easily relate that he has a positive personality. On the contrary, a negative bent of mind person will be reactive. He will be reacting to the situation. He will not pause and think. He will straight away give his response immediately to the situation. He will always be confronted with the problem. He will not be able to focus his mind on the solution part. He will play a victim card. He will blame the circumstances. He will say that, okay, because of this circumstances, this thing has arisen to him. So his anger is not his anger. It is a result of a situation or someone else's behavior. He will feel afraid and pessimistic attitude. So if we having this kind of traits within him, so end result is going to be sad, SAD, which means he will be stressed, angry, and depressed person. So now we can easily make out anybody who is stressed, angry, and depressed. You can find that this person having a negative personality.
To cite this with an example, let us consider that, say, I've been diagnosed with cancer. So when the initial shock is over, there are two ways for my thought process to proceed. One is I will be asking I will be like asking so many questions. There will be so much questioning going on in my mind as to why it was me. What have I done wrong? What is going to be the outcome? Is the treatment going to be beneficial or not? And what is going to happen to my family, etc., etc. That is one way. And the other way is I accept the situation. Obviously, after the initial shock, I accept the situation. I say, at least it got diagnosed. Now let me start with treatment. And because of the revolutionary medicines, there are so many options available. They are definitely going to have some effect on me. I can uh, come I can make an effort and meet other cancer survivors and listen to their success stories. So that is another way of going. Now the thing is that the situation is not going to change. What is there is still there. But what is happening is that I am facing the situation with a positive bent of mind. And as a result of that, it helps me cope the situation better.
Thank you, Anna, for reinforcing our views on the part of positivity. So now we're coming to the next slide. Just 1 minute. Uh, So the slide, the name says there's a price of anger, the cost of anger. We would have seen that the person who had attempted on the life of Donald Trump, his name was Thomas Matthew. He lost his life. So this is a isolated kind of this just example just was fresh in my mind, so I thought to share it with you. So he lost his life. So this is a price of anger which he has paid. But there are some minor consequences also which we have to bear it in mind. The first thing, it takes away a peace of mind. How does it take away peace of mind? I work in office environment, so I know for sure that anyone who is who becomes an instrument of creating an angry kind of situation, the other person, even if he's a little mild, but he will always think in his mind of taking a revenge from that person. So he will say, today he has taken my peace of mind and tomorrow I'll take his peace of mind. So this is called a revengeful feeling, which always travel across between the two persons. So sorrow, guilt, and shame, which is below underneath this, these are the after effects of anger. You possibly might have seen some people get angry, but they don't, they later on realize they feel guilty about it. They feel ashamed about it. They realize they shouldn't be getting angry because they could not control their emotions. So these are all emotional effect, which is the aftermath of getting angry. It obviously spoils our relationship. Angry person, nobody wants to have relationship with the angry person. Even the family members also, they try that if this person has a moody person, so let's stay away from him. It damages our nervous system. We have seen that people getting very nervous and sweating and things like that. It takes away your mental and physical energy because 5 minutes of anger, it's said that it just you need at least 2 or 3 hours of rest after that, because it takes away so much of your energy, both mentally and physically. And loss of judgment and ability to consider the needs of other. He doesn't, you will not find any angry person who has got any compassion or any kind of mercy for another person. He thinks what, at the time of expressing his anger, he thinks that he's right, other person is wrong. So therefore, there's no judgment power within him, because the intellect doesn't work during that period of time, and it affects the collective consciousness, which Vanna has said that it may lead to anger. Anger doesn't stay in mind for in one person. It travels across, because it's a infectious disease. So it may lead to war. We have seen so many wars have taken place. The reason behind, if we try to investigate the reason behind these wars, it's nothing but anger.
We can move on to the next slide.
So let me move to the next slide, which is the definition of anger. So far we have just been understanding anger from the layman's perspective. So let's understand what is actual the definition of anger. So I just read it out for each one of you. You can just read it yourself also. Anger is a negative emotional reaction to the situation, circumstances, or people which disturb our peace of mind and has harmful consequences for self and others. So I need not have to explain. This is self-explanatory. So the underlying words are negative. It's an emotional reaction. It disturbs our peace of mind, which we have already seen in the previous slides, and it has a harmful consequences for the self and for others also.
In any given situation, there are two ways to proceed. Either I respond or I react. Now, if I react, reaction is something that is automatic. I put food in my mouth and I start chewing. I don't have to remind myself that next step is chewing. It goes on automatically. And for example, a dog sees a cat, it starts chasing no matter how much traffic is going there. That is reaction. And if I respond, I stop, I think, and then I act. Like we say that we respond to a letter. We receive a letter, we go through it, we think what should be the reply, and then we sit down to write the reply. So we are responding to the letter. What happens is that by responding, we are taking control of the situation. So it is always better to respond than to react.
So coming to the effects on our health. So we all, I think by this time, many of us would be knowing that anger is something, every disease which is now taking place has a psychosomatic kind of effect, which first triggers in the mind and it has an effect on the body. So similarly, anger also has effects on our body. So therefore, we must be more cautious and more beware whenever any kind of situation, angry kind of situation comes. We should be guarding ourselves that it is going to take a toll on our health. So the first obvious effect which comes is the high blood pressure. We have seen in many cases wherever the blood pressure of the people who are angry is normally very, very high. So it results to the coronary heart disease because the blood veins gets restricted and the supply of the blood to the brain is restricted. Migraine, headache, depression, insomnia, these are the after effects of the passive anger or the suppressed anger, which we have not been able to express over a period of time. So therefore, anyone who is suffering from migraine, he should go to his history and see whether anger could be, the suppressed anger could be the cause of these things or not. But these are, not any medically evidence is there, but yes, but these could be the cause, anger could be the cause of all these things. It sometimes stomach upsets is there, sometimes muscular spasm is there. Skin disorders we have seen in many cases, but we have now been hearing some news reports which have been coming that anger can cause cancer also.
So to
over
go
to Vandana.
into a little bit of detail, each time that an angry person flares up, the body responds by going into fight or flight mode, wherein it responds as if it is being attacked. So all the processes react accordingly. For example, the person will have a fast breathing, heart will start pumping faster. I mean, there will be palpitation, there will be muscles will go tense and there will be a shortness of breath. So if we trigger this response repeatedly for a long time, the end result could be some problem of the heart. It could be a heart attack as well. And this is for aggressive form of anger. If the person suppresses anger and doesn't let it out, so what happens, it creates acid in the body. And we know very well that an acidic medium leads to harmful medical conditions. As mentioned in the slide about cancer, it is a known fact that an acidic medium is a good medium for growth of cancer cells. This does not necessarily mean that anger will cause cancer, but yes, the cells have been known to proliferate and grow better when the medium is acidic.
So we need to be cautious before we getting angry. So these are so many harmful effects on our body. So coming to the behavioral sign of angers, how does a person behave whenever he's in an angry kind of situation? So we might have seen that temper outburst. Uh, he will because it's a reaction. So he will be very temperamental and very speaking loudly and then be violent sometime. We have also seen the his behavior is crying because later on he or she realizes that he shouldn't have been angry. I particularly used to see this crying in my mother, because whenever she used to tell us off for some nonsensical behavior of ours, so later on she used to cry, and she used to say that I shouldn't have. She realizes that her tone was not better or things like that. She used to cry. I've seen her. So I have seen in many people who cry after throwing off their outburst. And withdrawal symptoms, particularly we see in the children, for those parents who have been very angry with their children. So in the tender age, we have seen that they, when they grew up, they will not, they are in the withdrawal syndrome. They will not be able to express themselves very openly or honestly, because the impact which they have during their childhood days are very, very deep in their mind. Behavior, again, the behavior of a angry person he will not have concentration. He will jump from one thing to another. He will be not a focused kind of a personality. Only concentration he will have is on the matter of his anger, which has caused him angry. So it'll be indecisive and unreasonable complaints. Yes, this is very frequently. I've noticed that in my office culture, that people who are normally angry, they find reasons to complain. Okay, because of this person, because of this situation, because of XYZ, uh, uh, this thing is not available, this thing is not available. So he'll be a very moaning, grumbling kind of a personality. Increase smoking, alcohol consumption. Yes, whenever you are not even able to, say for instance, you are angry with somebody and somebody has given a damn to you. So what will happen is that you will resort to smoking or alcohol consumption. This is we cannot generalize it, but yes, majority of the angry people, they resort to smoking and alcohol consumption. But we cannot generalize these kind of things. So increased dependence on, if the smoke and alcohol is not able to calm them down, then they resort to tranquilizers, various kind of drugs to calm them down. So we have seen that they find it difficult in sleeping, and when they wake up, they are quite tired in the morning. Uh, then going next slide is the emotional signs of anger. So what is emotion? Emotion is basically a sensation in the body whenever a angry person does some kind of throws out his anger. So we'll find that is excessive and rapid mood swings. Uh, because of his lack of concentration, his mood will sometimes very good, sometimes immediately he will find a different kind of a person. So therefore, he's not a dependable kind of a person in terms of in the professional. Uh, People will not regard him and not respect him because of his mood swings. So he will be worrying unreasonably about things that do not matter. So these kind of also emotional signs we find unnecessary over concern about his physical health. He will be, I mean, relating more about his physical health to others, even small things. Say, for instance, somebody is suffering from cancer. He will try to see whether these are symptoms. Not, I hope, he will see that I'm not having these kind of symptoms, and then he will be over concerned about these things. I've recently seen this. Prince Charles, when he was diagnosed with cancer. Mm. So many people have started seeing their own symptoms, whether they are not having these kind of symptoms within themselves or not. So over concern, which says withdrawal and daydreams. Such person, when he is not heard properly, because people try and ignore him, he will start daydreaming about waste things which are not likely to be achieved. He will daydream about that. Inability to feel sympathy for others, which I already said, that he will not have sympathy or empathy for anyone. No mercy, no thing. What he says is right. You will need to listen to it. Increased irritability. This we have noticed that family where you find one or two angry people, even the children who are so beautiful and so loving, whenever they cry, these people feel irritable about it. So the irritability level is so intolerance to small things which makes them irritable. And irritable is the progeny of anger, which is a different name of anger. Constantly complaining and criticizing others. They have a habit of criticizing others often to justify their anger. So these are the emotional signs. And now we see what are the feelings associated with anger. So feelings gets first in the mind, and then we feel it. So the first feeling comes is the anxiety level increases. Fear, feeling of fear, shame, worry, guilt. These are after effects once he gets angry, or in feeling of helplessness, because he is not able to control himself, so he feel helpless. There are times when he is misunderstood. He has a very good heart, but he is very aggressive in his behavior, so there's likely to be misunderstood. He'll feel lonely because people avoid meeting him, or avoid his company, and as a result he feel alienated and worthless kind of situation which comes. So these are the feelings which are associated with anger. Now, coming ways to deal with anger. Now, this is very important part. So if anyone has any questions up till now, or any comments, or anything anyone would like to share, or maybe we can share it later on, if uh, you may uh, think it over, and if you want to add anything, more than welcome to add. Uh, Anyone, or otherwise I can move on. Okay, if anyone doesn't have anything to add right now, you still have an opportunity to add later on. So let's understand how to deal with anger. So there are, if you see here in this slide, there are two ways. One is a painful method. Second one is the peaceful, and which we call it adult method. First is the regressive way, and the second one is the progressive way. So what is a regressive way? Regressive way is, first is the aggression. Aggression means somebody is angry with me, explosion. I will also be tit for tat. I will be revengeful. Either I'm revengeful, I will he has taken piece of my mind, I will take away his peace of mind. So both are angry kind of situation. This is aggressive behavior. This we will find it normally, sometimes this kind of situation gets turns violent also. If not violent, then it could result into abusive language. It may result into, if somebody is bullying another person, the other person uh, may take the help of somebody who is more powerful than him, and then this is aggressive kind of situation. Second is the passive aggression. Passive is something which is the first person is more dominant in his point of view, more angry, and the second person is not able to respond equally to him in the same tone. So I just share one example with me. It many years back in my banking career, there was my boss was transferred to another place, and he became as a head of administration and the head of HR. Okay. So over there, he was finding it difficult to adjust, and then he once called one person who is actually unproductive and not wasting his time. He was within his department, and he was not only uh, giving any output to the organization, and he was just creating hurdles for others also, and then with the intention that he gets more overtime kind of situation. So what will happen is he called him one day and then told him that you better behave yourself. If you don't behave yourself, I will send you a show cause notice, and then it may end up in termination if you don't behave. It given him 1 month's time. So he has taken it because he was not able to respond there and then itself. So he has got some connection with the union. He immediately went to the union. He spoiled. He was manipulative, and then he expressed in a different tone. He said that his bosses will take away job of everybody. He is very strict and stringent. So therefore, he's taken the union in his side. And then what happened was then the union has, uh, I mean, informed everybody that we will not work and we will ensure that this boss is removed. So they had I think they demonstrated it for 11, 12 days. And as a result, the management was forced to take away that person from his position and then offered him a different the first position, my boss. So this was the result of passive aggression. He could not have responded, but he has conspired and then worked against him through a different method. And the third is suppression. Suppression is that then when the first person is very, very aggressive, and then I am very mild and I'm not able to do anything or express myself, and I suppress my feelings, uh, which Vanna will explain to you more in detail. Uh, I'll come to the next one, which is the adult way of handling the angry kind of situation, which means we should, rather than choosing this aggressive way of handling it, we can also choose an assertive behavior. So assertive behavior is, we will come to slightly later, but I can just briefly explain to you what is assertive behavior. Assertive behavior is a non-abusive, not non-aggressive, non-violent behavior, wherein the person still expresses his needs, his wants in a very clear, communicative way. The end result, what he wants is fairness to him and fairness to the other person. And it's a win-win kind of situation. So it's various things comes into place in the assertive behavior, which we'll discuss in the later on, and contemplation, which is a reflective way of thinking and enlightenment. So I'll give it to Vanna to share a few examples on this, both.
Thank you, Sunil. When we say ways to deal with anger, what we actually mean is how we express anger. So there are three ways which are negative and two ways that are positive. So when we come to aggressive behavior, which is explosion, let us take the example of a mother-in-law. There are one mother-in-law and one daughter-in-law in in this scenario. So the mother-in-law does not approve of the daughter-in-law. As a result of that, she's uh, fault finding. She is shouting at her, she is bullying her, she is punishing her. She can even go to the extreme of being violent with her. So what she is doing, what the mother-in-law is doing, is she is releasing her pent-up feelings against the daughter-in-law. Now, this outburst is very much like that of a pressure cooker, wherein the steam builds up, and when it reaches a certain point, the pressure cooker lets the steam off as a whistle. So, this outburst, this releasing of steam, should I say, by the mother-in-law acts favorably for her, and then she calms down, and then again it starts building up. So this is the aggressive form. When we talk of the second one, the passive form, now here the anger is there, the disapproval is there, the negative feelings are there, the frustration is there, the resentment is there, but there is no outward manifestation of these feelings. She acts normally, she might even act pleasantly. But what is happening under this layer of outwardness? She still disapproves of the daughter-in-law. So she schemes against this daughter-in-law, and she starts poisoning the son's mind. And this behavior of hers, what is the outcome? It produces a long-term and damaging effect. So what was happening in the aggressive form? It did not resolve the matter. What is happening in the passive form? No, it does not resolve the situation. And what happens in the suppression? Suppression, here there is no outward manifestation, no scheming, no aggression, but inside she is like thinking, and she is like feeling, and she is like keeping it all built up inside, and her health suffers because of that. She develops hypertension, she develops insomnia, she develops depression, she might even have some mental disorders in the form of nervous breakdown. And what are the adult ways, the positive ways of dealing with anger? No, before that, I would say, which is the, when I did this course, I was asked this question. So that's why I thought it better. It is very relevant to ask you as well. Ask yourself, which is the better way? Is it the aggressive or the passive or the suppression? My answer was aggressive is the worst type of anger. But the correct answer is that it is the passive form of anger which is the most harmful. Why? Because in the aggressive form, because of the outbursts, everyone knows where they stand, what their relative position is. But in the passive form of anger, what this is more subtle. The pressure keeps building up, and when the dam finally bursts, the effect is very damaging, and it is worse than letting off the steam intermittently, and the bursting of dam it creates more harm than the aggressive form. And if we look at the positive way of showing the anger, they are by being assertive. We have another slide of being assertive, and we will look into it in detail, but a little bit Sunil has already told you. And the second is contemplation. Contemplation, it means that it is the same as responding actually. What we talked about responding and reacting, we concluded that responding is better than reacting. So the same is with contemplation. Contemplation is another form of responding. And I'm quite could we have the previous slide, please, Sunil? In contemplation, it says in the brackets, it says enlightenment. And this is quite interesting that it is an enlightenment, because that is the best way of expressing anger, wherein you respond rather than react. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing it so articulately about the various forms of angers. Now we are coming closer to the first chapter, which is about anger process. So here we will be just summarizing it. So we will think of a situation that make us angry. What are the kind of triggers? So each one will can have their own triggers, which when we write it down, we possibly we will be able to see that these are the triggers when it happens. Uh, these are the stimuluses which create angry kind of situation for us to behave. So some of the triggers which I have noted for myself, they're very, which I'm sure everybody, these are very common triggers. Like if you miss the train, or if somebody is getting late, if there's a traffic jam. We were just coming here to the center, so we realized that we were a little late and there was traffic jam. So, but since we are going for an anger management course, so we immediately response got changed. Okay, we have no control over the situation. Suddenly, if you find early in the morning that the boiler is not working, this again trigger this will, or you will go to the station, you find that you have forgot to take your wallet with you. So you'll always a person may say that it always happens with me like this. The other person will say, okay, doesn't matter. So I can, so these are the some triggers, examples which I've given, but everyone will have their own triggers. So how do I behave in this kind of situation? So here is a important point, my behavior, what kind of behavior I should be having it. So, and then what is the physical effects on the body, so which we have already discussed, that anger has devastating effects on the body, and how do I feel about it? And what is the first thought that comes to our mind when the trigger occurs? So these are the things which each one of us uh, to see. And there are some further questions for Vanna. You would like to say
Yes, I would
something?
like to add something here to make the anger process more clear. Most of you would have watched the Euro finals last week between England and Spain, held in Berlin, where unfortunately England lost. There was high hope from the fans that England is going to win this World Cup this time, Euros final this time, and many thousands of them traveled to Berlin to witness it. But unfortunately, things didn't go in their favor, and that was one thing. But I wonder if you know, if you notice the next day there was this news item that there was a lot of violence on the streets in Berlin, wherein the Spanish fans and the English fans, they confronted each other. They had fist fights. They were throwing cans at each other, and there was damage to property and things like that. There was a video which showed all that, and it was quite distressing actually, that because of losing a game, they are coming down to this behavior. Here, in this case, what happened was the fans, the English fans, they got frustrated. They were angry, and the trigger was in this case losing the match. And because of this anger, they were angry on their own individual levels. But when they got together, their anger added up and resulted in a wave of anger sweeping them. So it resulted in all this destruction and fist fights. So we now know that had they acted responsibly, had they acted in a positive manner, instead of reacting, they would have responded and there would not have been any violence.
I didn't know that you. I said I didn't know that you watched the match. I turned off my TV as soon as England lost it, but you had been seeing all these episodes thereafter also.
No, they didn't. There was no direct telecast of this fist fight. No, it was in the next day's news.
Okay. Okay, so there are a few more further questions for each one of you to just reflect on it. So you can just note down, and maybe when we will end our session tomorrow, we may be able to throw some light on these questions, how it is impacting us. So this ends the first chapter of erupting volcano. And then coming to the second one, which is looking beneath the surface. So if you see here, it essentially something going on behind our thought process. It may be some experiences in a subconscious mind, the trigger, whenever the trigger comes, and then suddenly the anger erupts. So what is the role of thought in this anger process, and what we can take, create a positive change to do it? Okay, so here are the outcomes. We should be knowing in this the five types of thoughts and what impact on our perception, attitude, beliefs, and expectations. And then we also expected to know what is my personal responsibility in the anger process, and how we can create powerful, positive, and peaceful thoughts to change our attitude. Okay, so what is thought? So this is the most important thing in taking control of our anger. Sorry, let me go to the previous slide. So I'll just read the definition of a thought. Thought is a non-physical energy which can be used in a positive or the negative, constructive or the destructive way. So here the underlying word is non-physical energy, which is it's an energy which which transmits, which vibrates, and which, as a result, we might have seen there's a telepathic kind of situation wherein if I remembering somebody, and if is that person is also in the same frequency, he says, "Okay, oh, I just was thinking about you." So this is the role of a thought. Uh, uh, in terms of, we might have seen that the electricity, how electricity travels through the cables and then through the and it can reach to whatever things which we want from the electricity, we can use it. So that's also non-physical energy. So thoughts are based on set of beliefs, values, and attitude. Beliefs, what we mean by beliefs, values, and attitude, which means our thoughts are what we have been believing over a period of time, what we have been thinking from our family, from the media, from our experiences, from various who we are more in touch with, from our office, from various things. Our belief system is set up. And values are what we attach value to it based on our own value system. And this is how our attitude is formed. So when thoughts are based on beliefs, values, and attitude, which in turn inform our perceptions, feelings, words, and actions. Okay, so we perceive as we believe that person to be, in the same way we feel about it, and it comes to our words and actions. So I think Vanna will speak more on this aspect. Due to paucity of time, I just hand it over to Vandana
Thank
to
you.
just
Okay, in the
elaborate
15th
in this.
century, in the 15th century, there was an explorer by the name of Christopher Columbus who who undertook the first voyage, transatlantic voyage, in his ship from Spain to America. He intended going to India, but he took a new route, and by mistake, he reached America, and this route was never taken before. So, when it was a high risk and a monumentous task he undertook, but just imagine, all this would have started from just one thought. He would have had a thought that I have to travel to India. So this thought was like a seed, and then he would have sat down and made all the plans and arrangements, and this is like watering that seed. And finally, when he did undertake that voyage, that was like action. This was like the fruit which he derived from the seed. So we see that every action is a result of the thought, just in the same way each fruit is derived from a seed. So every action starts from a thought. Can we have the next slide, please?
So more on thoughts. Thoughts can be powerful. Thoughts can be powerful, weak, concentrated, or diffused. So here, what is the definition of a powerful thought? Powerful thought means, say, for instance, I say, I will pass the exam with flying colors. Okay, this is a powerful thought. I am confident about it. I have faith on my ability and my hard work. So therefore, it is a powerful thought, I can say. There is no confusion. There is no doubt about it. And weak thought is that whenever any doubt comes in between the same sentence, same phrase, if I say that no, I have not done this chapter, I have not done this chapter. So, which means I'm a little bit confused. So my thought has become a little bit weak in that. And when will the thought become concentrated? Concentrated thought contains basically three things in that. It should have a definite aim, that what I want to achieve with that thought. It should be backed by my zeal and enthusiasm to achieve that goal or whatever I think I want to do it. And third thing, which is the most important thing, is that determination, persistence, and consistency in holding on to that thought for a longer period of time. So, which becomes a concentrated thought. If you would have seen that all these people who do this PhDs and all, so they are so focused on the research with which they do it. So this is a kind of concentrated reading or focused on one particular thing. And fourth one is a diffuse. Diffuse is just opposite to focus. I mean, the person is diffused. He wanted to do something, but his mind is not concentrated. His mind is wavering here and there. He's not able to focus onto a particular thought. I think Vandana will be possibly able to give some examples on this. So there are strong connection between the state of mind and the state of the body, which we already discussed in the previous slides, that it's all everything what first comes in the mind and it transmits to the brain and then it affects the body. And the quality of my thoughts determines the quality of my life. So this is very important. Let me go to the back slide. The quality of my, I just read a few thoughts which have been shared by somebody. Just bear with me 1 second. So it says that thoughts create a destiny. So watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. And watch your actions, they become your habits. And watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So therefore, it is very important for us. The underlying word is quality. So if we want a particular quality of our life, or it depends upon the quality of our thoughts. Vanna, do you have to add anything on this?
Yeah. I think we need to be quick because we are short of time. Okay, not all seeds that we sow will germinate into plants. Likewise, not all thoughts that we get will culminate into an action. Say I tell myself I'll start exercising tomorrow. But if it is a weak thought, I will start giving excuses. But if it is a powerful thought, I will definitely start exercising the next day. So it depends on what type of thought I have. If I'm sure every one of you have seen a child attempting a maths question. So when they are doing that sum, they are so deeply engrossed. That is the concentrated thought. And if the diffuse thought, what is a diffuse thought? I go to the gym, I look at one machine, I start exercising on that, and then I see someone else doing some using some other machine, and I go there and I start it is a diffuse. There is no set pattern and there is no set goal. So that is a diffuse thought. And there is a strong connection between the state of the mind and the state of the body, which we can make out if someone has a stage fright. It is very much obvious. It becomes very much obvious. You tell that person to appear on stage and they will have a panic attack. They will have palpitation. They will have trembling. They will have sweating. They might have diarrhea. They might even throw up. My son, when he was young, every day he had his exam. First thing in the morning, he used to throw up because the mind was having effect on the body. Now, the quality of my thoughts determine the quality of my life. This is what we have seen when we talked about going the glad way and the sad way, where I talked about that having cancer, you go the positive way and you go the negative way. So the end result is you either glad or you are either sad. So this is talking about more on thoughts. We can have the next slide now, please.
So there are 5 types of thoughts which are just read it out for you. One is the elevated thoughts. Elevated thoughts, as the name says, which are basically for which elevates our inner beauty, inner self. So the thoughts which uplift the spirit. So these kind of thoughts. So uh, the few examples I can share, that I am a loveful person, I am a peaceful person, I'm a blissful person. So these are elevated kind of, the very, very elevated kind of thoughts. So these are actually realities. So I'm just reinforcing these realities so that it becomes the part and parcel of my way of thinking. And the second thought is positive thought, which we have discussed in the previous slides. But I can just narrate one example. A positive person. There is a saying that life is not bed of roses, nor it bed of thorns. So a positive person will remove the word not from the phrase. He will say life is bed of roses. Okay, I will see opportunity wherever I go. I'll find some kind of opportunity. Whereas the negative person will use the word not in that. He will say, no, life is not bed of roses. I find difficulties everywhere. Wherever I go, I find. He will try and find excuses. So the third is a necessary thought. Necessary thoughts are basically are required for day-to-day living, getting up in the morning, getting ready, going to office, taking a train, making breakfast, eating breakfast. These are necessary thoughts, which are unavoidable kind of thoughts. And the waste thoughts, which are highly avoidable kind of thoughts, which is repetitive, which is basically one, if one gets addictive to it, it's very difficult for anyone to get rid of waste thoughts. And they are really energy draining kind of thing. So we need to, now coming to the most important point here, always remember, I, the being, I create my thoughts. Okay. So nobody can compel me. I'm the person who has to create thoughts. So once I create thoughts, therefore I'm responsible for my thoughts and also my behavior. So I have a freedom to choose the thoughts. I could choose a negative way of thinking. I can choose a positive way of thinking. It depends upon my response to the situation, not my reaction to that. So therefore, nobody can make me angry. So you remember we had used the in the beginning, we have said that the theme of today's we will be frequently reminding 2 words, that peace is my original nature and anger is my acquired habit. So therefore, nobody can make me angry. I must get rid of this habit. Vanna, would you like to add anything on this?
I think that's fine. You've already illustrated the examples, so we can move to the next slide now.
Okay. Next slide is methods to change thinking. So this also we already discussed. We can skip this. It all depends upon positive thinking. And the important point here to see is stand back, observe, and steer, which means a response should not be immediate response. We should, there is a saying now these days, people say that you should think before you think. What you are thinking, think again about what you are thinking and check and change. So check and change is important. This is what is the objective of this course. So we should check in, give importance to attention, and then wherever is possible for us to make changes, we should observe our behavior and make changes for that. Coming to the next slide. Unless you want to add anything on this?
No, I'll do it after this one.
Okay.
The next one.
Sorry. So methods to change thinking. So continuing on this, change. So a few things comes here. One is the affirmation. which is very frequently used by many people. So if you go to YouTube, you'll find many affirmations to change your thinking. So the objective is that whatever negative beliefs you have, so once you uh, have some affirmations of positive beliefs, so you can change it. So the method is you repeat it for 21 days. So I just share one example which my grandfather has taught me, one affirmation, maybe 55 years back, if I remember correctly. I was 10 years old. So he used to tell me, which is a very famous, which everybody knows, is that I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am happy, and I am wise. So what are the four words which is come is healthy, which is taking care of my health. I'm wealthy. Here you can have add if you want material wealth, then you can think of that way. But here I've been thinking that knowledge is wealth. So I'm thinking about wealth as knowledge, and I'm happy. Everybody, even if you have wealth, if you're not happy, so you need happiness. And I am wise. Wise means wisdom, which means I should be in a position to use my intellect in a very uh, effective manner. So I should be able to know what is right, what is wrong. So I should not be cheated by the influences of others. So this I used to repeat it very often. So the best way, there may be many affirmations one can suit oneself, whatever one desires to have affirmations in one's life. So the best time to use affirmation is either uh, before going to bed, before sleeping, basically just 15 minutes before sleeping, when our subconscious mind is active. Basically, affirmations we need to uh, embed it in our subconscious mind, because our experiences, our negative experiences are in the subconscious mind. So therefore, we need to fill up our positive affirmations in the subconscious mind. So the best time is before we sleep, just 15-20 minutes before we sleep, and before we leave the bed in the morning. So these 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evenings are important. And if we continuously use it for 21 days, so there is some kind of somebody has done the research that if we the brain has a elasticity, that if we put affirmation for 21 days several times during the day, preferably in the morning as well as morning hours and before going to the bed. So it has a very beneficial effect in terms of changing our thinking, because we are putting it in the subconscious mind. Uh, but if there is also effect, the mind gets bored with affirmations very fast, because mind is racing, and then it's got different needs. So you got different kind of affirmations. So in that case, what we can do is we can same information, we can put it in a different sentence so that we our mind doesn't get bored. Say for instance, health. I've been using that I'm healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. So instead of saying I'm getting healthy every day, I see myself uh, getting better in my health on daily basis, on hourly basis. So I can improvise on this so that I am reinforcing the same affirmation on the thing which I wanted to improve. So I am reinforcing it on my health part, okay, in different language, in different expressions and different ways of doing it. So coming to the imagination, which is largely the visualization method. So while doing this affirmation, if I'm able to visualize it, say for instance, uh, i'm uh, I'm having a affirmation on my I'm getting healthier, so I can see that from head to toe, uh, m- my my the brain is sending vibrations of peace to each and every cell of my body. It is reaching, and I the blood is flowing, the pure blood is flowing, reaching to every nook and corner of my body. So I'm visualizing this at the same time, so it is a better effect. And the third and the most important thing is the meditation, which we normally learn it in the Raj Yoga course. So which is nothing but meditating to our inner being, to our inner self, and then connecting with the higher self. So the method is observation, concentration, and creation. One I would like to
Hi there. Hi, Brother Sunil and Vandana.
Hello, Sudhira.
Hi,
Hello, Sudhira.
I just said, like, say, for example, for me, I have to work on this being reactive. Say, for example, someone saying, this thing wasn't done. I said, why are you asking me this? Like, I no, instead of saying now, I have to be like, pause and then give, and then respond. I have to work on that. I remember, like when Brother Sunil just mentioned about affirmation, my husband used to say every morning, I hear him, but I just did not take no notice at that point. He used to say, I am better and better every day. I used to keep repeating it, but I didn't take no notice, to be honest, at that time. But now I understand all these at the back of my mind. It's coming to help me, all these, and all your session is wonderful. Thank you both.
Fantastic. So we are all feeling better and better. It's very important. Huh? So last theme was we are all wonderful. We are all valuable people. So this is our, aligning with our inner values, basically. So thanks for sharing. Anyone else would like to share anything or comments? I know it's a habit, anger, as we've been saying that it's a acquired habit. It will take time, like any other habit. It's a how much effort we are putting into getting rid of this habit. So, but these are only tools which are available to us. Eventually, it will happen that if I am very keen and I have a desire to get rid of this habit, then definitely the changes will take place. Uh, uh, one can see one own self. I have seen in many people, those who have made an attempt, they were quite successful. So the good thing is that it is a habit. So therefore, habit can be changed.